In this LensVid Talk, we're looking at Zeiss Nano Cine lenses, the first Thunderbolt 5 dock, and space photography. Stick around.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, y'all.
Hello, Art.
You do?
And we're doing LensVid Talk number 17. So we're up with the numbers.
Yeah, rolling them up.
And we have, as usual, quite a lot of topics. This one is going to be a little bit, I think, lighter on the topics than the previous one that we did. This time we're starting with like regular news. So Zeiss has a new series of lenses. They're called the Zeiss Nano Prime cinema lenses. And these ones are like I want to call them lower end because they're not, but
$5,000 a pop is not
yeah,
that low.
They're you already got to the final point, but yeah, they're
I want to get it over with because it's a painful one.
Yeah, exactly. No, they're expensive, but again, for Zeiss lenses, maybe not so much.
Right.
They have two other series of cine lenses. These are the smallest ones. They're, I think, more designed for mirrorless cameras and smaller bodies. I think it's E-mount, and if I'm not mistaken, they also have PL, and maybe you can switch as well. They have a system of switching them. They have 5 lenses, if I'm not mistaken: 18, 24, 35, 50, 75, and 100. They're all 1.5 and the 12 blade. So that's nice. And they have an interesting feature which you don't really find on a lot of cine lenses. Well, you do on the high-end ones, but not on mirrorless ones usually. And that's lens communication.
Right.
So I'm wondering how this will work for, let's say, if you're shooting on a Sony cameras, how this will work. I know the Sony software will know.
Well, I'm thinking, we talked about this earlier. If it's the Sony cameras have gyro stabilization and they need metadata. So if a lens, that's more for, I don't know if lens.
Maybe you can do lens correction in camera, because the information, if I'm not mistaken, is stored in the lens. So if it can communicate with the body, like unlike most cine
a regular
lenses,
manual,
yeah, which doesn't basically communicate anything. Can be interesting.
Yeah.
And Zeiss has a history of working with Sony, so it could be interesting. I know. I'm not sure about how exactly this lens communication works with Sony bodies, but yeah. So 6 lenses, $5,000 each, and lens communication, 12 blades, and T 1.5, and they're all obviously match, and all the other stuff. That's interesting. Zacuto has we didn't, I think, speak about Zacuto in LensVid Talk until now. I've spoken with them quite a few times in the past, like with some of the people in Zacuto, and they have something called the Micro Boom, and it's kind of, I'm surprised that nobody came up with this before. Maybe somebody did and I didn't see it, but it's like a very simple solution. It's basically a boom that you put on a hot shoe or cold shoe. I would actually be a little frightened to put it on a hot shoe on the camera itself.
Other than what goes on a hot shoe.
Yeah, because if you just move the camera left and right and this gets hit and then you break something in your hot shoe.
It's telescoping, right? So, I mean, it looks like it comes out to
60, 70 centimeters,
and you have a microphone on the end of that. So, it's very light, but still, it's a big lever.
It's 5 ounces, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Right. So it's still a big lever.
Yeah.
Any kind of movement, if you're hand holding it, I wouldn't trust it. But putting that on a
cold shoe on a cage.
Yeah, that could work.
Yeah.
I mean, it also depends on what kind. With some kind of a strong holder, magic arm type thing. Because you don't want it bouncing into the frame and things like that.
The advantage, I think, that with some of the cages, you sometimes also has a handle and a cold shoe on the handle, and it's a little bit higher, so it gives you even a little bit more. Because if you're using a wide-angle lens, it can maybe get into the shot. Because if you're shooting like close, you want a wide angle, because otherwise it won't work.
Right.
So maybe the height of the cold shoe on the handle will give you a little bit more extra room I'm not sure if you can tilt it upwards. I'm guessing upwards and downwards.
Yeah, you
The
have to have
angle.
some kind of. It's like a small ball head
Yeah. So
control
yeah.
holder. So
Okay. It's 5 ounces, like the weight, and the price is $165. So it's not too bad. I think
hmm
the cable runs inside, and yeah, it's a simple thing. Last time we talked about a different 7-inch monitor from
this
DasView.
view.
Yeah. This time around, we're talking about another monitor. I think this even came out before. It's the newest version of the 7-inch monitor from SmallHD.
Right.
And it's 2300 nits, so also very, very bright. The
Right.
other
Right.
one, I think, was
28.
28. Yeah, but I think everything above like 2000 is like
Yeah.
daylight, basically, real daylight. This one is much, much more expensive. I can't say really much about it. Maybe I'll put some stuff in the article on
hmm
LensVid. But if I'm not mistaken, it's about $3,000.
Yeah, 2900 something.
Uh, that's small HD.
Yeah.
Their prices are high, but they do have. We talked again. We talked about this on the last one. The interface is great. They have a really
Right.
good interface. Is it worth 10 times as much as a different
Uh,
monitor? I don't know. The other one was $300.
yeah, and you can tell the difference with the interface. Thing is, the easier it is to use any piece of equipment, right? Especially a monitor, is critical in a lot of cases, right? And if you're fumbling around trying to get to something, then
Yeah.
you miss it, and that's where you pay the price.
Yeah.
So how. I mean, you can get around a lot of these things if you really know your device that you're working with.
My experience is that with monitors, as long as I have bottoms on the monitors, for the most part, I don't really touch the interface that much. I just set it up one time and then press whatever I need, like zoom or
Well, it's
or
the thing
peaking
you
or whatever, and pause
like that other
colors.
one does not have that many buttons. You have the
Usually you have
on
four.
off.
On the ones that you have, you usually have four.
Yeah. At this point, with the touchscreen capability needs to be like we talked about this last time. Um, Companies really need to look into
But
connecting that touch capability to the
yeah.
camera. Other than that, it's like okay, it's easier to just use a button.
So that's the Small HD 7-inch new version. It's again a touchscreen. This one really surprised me. And when I saw it, I was like, "What?" A company called Hyper.
Yeah,
I'm guessing Chinese. Didn't check, but pretty sure. They have the first Thunderbolt 5 dock.
right.
Now we discussed, I think, in one of the previous LensVid talks that Thunderbolt 5 was basically announced, but I was under the impression that it will take some time until we will see, like, at least, I don't know, 6 months, maybe even a year, until we will see the first devices using Thunderbolt
Because
5.
nothing supports it yet, right?
There are no computers, no other devices that I can think about that supports it. But this actually makes some sense because this is a Thunderbolt 5 dock.
Mm-hmm.
So you can connect up to 3 144 hertz 4K monitors to it. I'm not sure how many 8Ks, but and it has CF Express Type B card slot and NVMe like slot for
Storage.
storage.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool, and that's a lot of like data transfer
Right.
that needs to occur between the computer and the dock. So for this actually makes a lot of sense, and you don't need any other accessories that supports it because it's not like you
Is
have
Thunderbolt 5 going in or Thunderbolt 5
from the
connectivity?
dock to the computer.
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure if they have like other Thunderbolt 5 ports. I'll put it on the screen
Yeah.
because I didn't look that well on this specific device. But if it has Thunderbolt 5 going in, then this is 100% future proof, but not
Not
i-
for a long time.
not for yeah. You're not going to have anything to do with that. So that's anyway. No, actually, when I think about it, even connecting to it, there are no laptops that can. Yeah.
That's what I was
So
thinking.
the
It's
whole
like
thing is like, yeah, this is why I thought it was so strange, because what's the point? But well, it exists, so
Yeah.
maybe they know something that we don't know about, like upcoming laptops in the next 1 or 2 months. I
Right.
don't know. CS, I don't remember seeing laptops with Thunderbolt 5, but maybe like sometimes in CES they have they're showing upcoming products, but not official, not like to the regular visitors,
Right.
but just to the press, and saying, this is coming in like 3 months. I've been to CS. I remember doing this,
Mhm.
like showing us some stuff that this is a preview of what you will see in like 3-4 months in next in the year. So that's the Hyper first Thunderbolt 5 dock, Thunderbolt 5 anything,
Mhm.
and Hoinon. How how do you pronounce this?
Huinon?
Hui-
Let me look. I forget. I always
it's
forget.
written Huion.
Huion.
Huion. Okay. So they have. I'm not sure how new this is, to be honest. I've seen Petapixel did a review of this, so I found it a little bit interesting. It's a Canvas Pro drawing tablet,
24-inch.
24-inch, 4K, and there is, I think you
There's
saw
a
a
1080
non
version
4K
as well.
version. Yeah, it's it's interesting because it's big. I'm always interested in the big ones because it basically, if you're working on Photoshop, for example, you can work with like 16-inch or even smaller ones. But I'm working with 27-inch, like three 27-inch monitors. I want something around the same size. If there was a 27, even better. But
Mm.
I don't think that there are a lot of 27-inch. I think there are 30 something, like huge ones, but they're very expensive. So this is interesting. It's $1,300, something like that.
Mhm.
But it doesn't have it's not a touchscreen, so it's just a pen,
Mhm.
and it doesn't have any built-in shortcut keys. Just it has like this how do you call it, like an external keypad, which is, I don't know, maybe you can get used to that, but I would find it useful if there were like at least a couple of like programmable touch keys.
Mhm.
I think the Inaudus, what's the name, the company that does the most famous
Wacom.
yeah, so they have some keys, I think, on their devices, and there are a few other Chinese manufacturers who also have keys on
Mhm.
their devices. So this one doesn't have. Uh, ZGCINE, we talked, I think, the last time on the KMTV micro nano, whatever, like small V-mount batteries.
Right.
So now ZGCINE also have a new version of their. They already have, I think, a couple of lines of
Yeah. Right.
small V-mount batteries. So now they have a new series, which is 45, 99, and 160 watt hour
V-mounts.
yeah, batteries, small ones. Not sure what's new about them. I'm guessing that they have. I think the previous generation, I think, from all the manufacturers, both Small Rig and KMTV, I think they couldn't have pushed. They had issues pushing power through all their like
Ports.
connectors, ports. Yeah,
Mm.
and I'm guessing. I'm not sure, but I'm guessing that now the change with this one on ZGCine is also that it's more capable of pushing like more output through
So
all
it's
the.
electronics now that
Yeah,
they're putting into these batteries. The menu, the screen,
yeah,
the ports. You can have more ports because it's like it's a lot smarter, the battery, and it knows how to handle each one and go in
yeah.
and out. So yeah.
So this is interesting, but it's not what actually drew me to this announcement. What actually I found more interesting was the fact that they have a two port or two bay, and how you call it, a
Dual
dual
charger.
charger, basically dual V mount charger, which is really small. Like I would say about this size, something like not very big, basically, and dual V mount using which charges using USB C,
Right.
which is really cool because usually the chargers, the V mount chargers, are AC only, and the one that we have, there are small. We have one of the smaller one for from Hawkwoods,
Yeah,
but
just
it's
connector.
yeah, but it's a single one, and it's only like AC. It's a AC powered. Not sure if it's very fast. This one, I think, I'm not sure how fast it is, but it's small and USB C. So it's really portable. You can take it.
USB-C only or USB-C option?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'm not sure.
If it's USB-C only, it's probably pretty fast. You would think. I don't know.
I don't know. It's. I think
But it is a good
AC
idea.
is still more power capable in
Right.
theory, at least more power than
Well, it depends
USB-C.
what you're drawing USB-C from also.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, these V-mount chargers are a little kind of, with the batteries taking strides forward and electronics and stuff.
Yeah, the
USB-C,
chargers
or
are
not
not
charger,
been
USB-C
advancing. Yeah,
V-mount chargers are kind of like, they're old and they haven't done anything with
all
it
the new not all, but most of the new batteries can actually charge directly
through
with that
USB-C.
through USB-C, which is fantastic. But if you have like two batteries to charge, maybe you can still charge them
Yeah.
via like a I know, but I don't know. I found it interesting, and so that's the ZGCINE. There is a this one is you have to excuse me. It's not a non-photographic
Yeah.
announcement,
But you
the,
can make something.
which is photographically
Yeah.
related. So
Yeah.
let's just explain what this is. This is called bullseye bullseye-bore, something like that. Core bullseye-bore core. It's a strange name. It's basically a drill attachment, like a power drill attachment, which is small. You put it on the drill, not
Bit?
the bit, yeah, the drill bit, whatever. You put it on that, and I'm not sure if it has a battery or it operates from spinning somehow.
Oh, that's interesting.
I'm guessing maybe it has a battery. It doesn't matter. The thing is that it produces a laser. I think either green or red. The green is more powerful, so it can work outdoors, and the red is indoors. It's kind of on the expensive side. I think it's like I don't know, $100 and something. It's I think on Kickstarter. Yeah. Um, I'm not sure, but yeah, it's on Kickstarter. So the idea is this: you put this on the drill, and if you want to drill into, let's say, I want to tap into a piece of wood to connect an accessory. We do a lot of like DIY stuff here in the studio, and sometimes you need to be able to connect something to a piece of wood, but in a secure way. So one good way of doing this is to tap a hole and then put like one of those
Metal connector.
3/8, 3/8 to quarter inch adapters. But to do this, you actually need to drill a straight hole
90
because
degree.
yeah. Now, obviously, you can do it with a drill press, but here I have one in my workshop. I don't have one in the studio. So if I need to do something quick here in the studio, drilling straight can be a bit problematic. So with this, it shows you using circles. I'll show this on the screen. It shows you whether or not you're centered. Basically, if you're drilling straight down or at an angle. Basically, that's the idea. That can be really useful. It's a cool design. It's a cool idea. Kind of expensive. I would like it to be cheaper, but it's a new thing, so I don't know. It is what it is. This one, getting back to cameras, and this one is it's a really funny one. I know. I sometimes I find strange things all over the internet and bring them just to show. This is called the Nano Capture tiny camera. It's basically like, you can think of it as I know, like
one of those old spy cameras.
yeah, basically it's like tiny camera. I think this size more or less, and it shoots like 1080p videos and stills, obviously, like regular stills. I'm not sure the resolution, but it doesn't matter. I'm guessing it's like a phone, like low end phone camera. Level of it's not, but it's a working camera. It's like really small. It looks like a camera. It has this shutter button thingy, and the images it produced, from what I've seen, it's like retro with like filters and whatever. Uh, I know it's a gimmicky sort of thing, but there are people who will buy it. I think it's not very expensive. I'm not sure. I don't remember the price. I'll put it on the screen.
Who would pay a lot of money for that?
Yeah, no, for sure. But I don't know, if you want to buy something like a gag gift, that can be an option. And the final one that's going to be a short LensVid talk is something from YouTuber who is called Phil Edwards. He does all sorts of non-photography related stuff, but on this video, one of his latest, he did a full video on the photography behind the famous Earthshine NASA shot.
Right.
So I'm not sure you know the Earthshine. It's
I thought it was called Earthrise.
Earthrise,
like as moonrise, sunrise,
shine. I'm not sure if Earthrise shine. Yeah. So it's basically I'm not sure when it was shot. Probably in the
60s,
mid 60s during the Apollo space program. I'm guessing before the Apollo 11, before the actual landing, but again I'm not sure. Thing is this. According to what he did, like a research based on other people's research. There's like some people wrote like lengthy articles on this. He said that basically capturing this image of the Earth rising behind the moon or front of the moon, I don't know, depending on where you are, was more difficult than you might think. And the astronauts had only a very short window of opportunity to capture this image. And they were shooting with the Hasselblad. We were talking about a different Hasselblad on the previous episode, but they were shooting with the Hasselblad and obviously like film. And most of the images that they shot were on
black and white.
Exactly, were in black and white film. And for this shot, they they had all sorts of things to do in the spaceship. It's not like the international space station right now when they have like all sorts of tasks, but they also have some free time so they can just look at outside the window, shoot some photos, and they have all the photography gear that they can use. It was like much more like focused on the mission. So taking images was sort of like a secondary or maybe not even secondary sort of mission. But they did realize that this was like an important image. So they switched to one of the color films, and they had like a short window of opportunity, and they took the shot. And I think he put on the wall all the images that they took from that mission using that camera. And it was like an entire wall of images, and that image I think was the last one or something like that. And it was like the previous ones were like like not very good, but this one was like they nailed it.
Yeah,
it was like it's interesting. I'm guessing if they wouldn't capture it, somebody else would have captured it like later on, maybe using like an unmanned ship or maybe one of the later. There weren't that many like.
There haven't been that many missions.
Exactly, like I think 17.
And then you travel at incredible speeds, and then if you're, I don't know how this works, but if you're shooting from the other side of the moon, that's probably the dark side of the moon. And then
but
the exposure wise, would you get?
Think about it. Yeah.
So there's so many factors.
Yeah.
And you're on film, and you're focusing, and
he was actually talking. I think it was in his video. He was talking about the fact that they got the colors not in this image, but on previous ones when they just started working with cameras, they got the colors wrong, or they needed to figure out the colors. So an astronaut had to go outside the ship somehow, or they had to put like a color chart outside the ship and shoot it so they will get the colors.
Your mission today is to go out into space and put a color checker out there.
you put your hand out.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, that's you can see the whole. I'll have the link below for the entire video. And it's worth checking out. And that's Phil Edwards and the Earthshine NASA photo. Right. So this is everything that we have for you today. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out the full article on the website.
Right.
And we'll see you in the next one.
See
Bye
you
all.
soon. Bye.